Hey everybody, it's Jason Blaha here, and it's time for another breakfast chat. And today, having fat-free Greek yogurt, almond butter. All right. Title of this video and the subject of it's probably going to upset a few people. What people need to grasp is that when I'm kind of making this call out, I'm also calling myself out. So I am guilty of this as well. But the more thought that I put into this over time and the longer I've trained and coached people and everything else, I've come to realize that a lot of us who are out here who bought into this message, because it's not just me who did this. We have guys like Windler, we have guys like Ripto, all these people pushing the overhead press, right? The strict press as this great exercise. You can go read about it on The Art of Manliness. And it's been promoted as really, it's a manly exercise, right? Manly exercise, pushing a heavy weight up above your head. It's more functional for athletes. Like, really? How so? I don't know of any sports where you press directly over your head other than weightlifting. You know, they'll get this idea and they'll say, well, it's better care of your sports. How? How? Over your head versus pushing forward. Really? American football, rugby, wrestling, boxing, a lot of contact sports. Really, these are all pretty manly contact sports. You push forward more than you do over your head. The fact that you have a bench doesn't matter because you also learn to get tight and use your whole body on that. Also, the overhead press, you're not even loading your body that heavy, right? Where's your sports carryover? Better for athletes. How? How? In fact, you get people who'll try to pull this line of, well, the overhead press works your whole body more, works more muscle than the bench. No, it doesn't. If it worked more muscle on the bench, you'd lift more weight. Almost none of us overhead press as much as we bench. Even people like me who spent a long time specializing in it for a while. Didn't do any benching. Didn't do any benching. We can't press as much as we bench. There's more muscles involved in the bench. The pectorals are a big muscle. Removing them, you lift less weight. The fact that you have more stabilizers doesn't matter, because here's the thing with that. If we're already doing other big lifts, all the stabilizers in our trunk and core and everything else are being worked dramatically harder than on a strict press. What I mean by is a squat, the deadlift, other standing. My God, even a single leg squat. A single leg squat, a split squat, a lunge. You're still working your core more than an overhead press. There's more weight being loaded. You're not doing anything. You're not doing anything as far as training the muscles outside of your shoulder girdle and triceps. No, you're not. Minor stabilizers that are handling less load than they do on 15 other exercises that we do. Not more functional. Not more functional at all. I had originally said, and I realized in retrospect when one of my younger clients brought this up, because I get some young clients who come on who really struggle with their masculinity. Well, you know, I don't want to have big chests and look feminine from benching. Because, you know, guys who only bench 350 have massive, enormous, feminine-looking chests, right? And I got that originally from Jamie Lewis and had brought that up, that there was a culture around that. And in retrospect, let me just retract that. I almost need to find the video and get rid of it. It'd probably be in my best interest. Now, I don't know how to find it at this point. Finding all videos like that's impossible. But didn't help anybody with that. And realistically, here's what it comes down to. We have serious strength standards for the bench. And for those of us who were bad at the bench, like me, and that's why I'm working really, really hard now on getting good at the bench and building my chest up and doing wider grip benching, Those of us who are bad at bench, we don't like being called out on it. It's exactly what it is. No, I mean, it is what it is. If we have another alternative lift that has less people who care about it, less strength standards, it's far easier to look impressive than to be compared against people who have spent decades specializing in the bench press, who are built to bench press, and to be compared to those people, because we're going to feel weak. I'm naturally good at the squat. Squat comes easy to me. Bench, not so much. Bench, not so much. I have to bust my ass on it. I have to work really hard and really smart to put 5 pounds on my bench. Right? People in that situation, we want something else to distract away from it. But the reality is, what have I said before? Best way to hide your strength is to not use lifts that you're easily compared to other people on. Squat, bench, deadlift, real high on the list. I mean, I'll get people say, but do you do all these variations of the same thing except till you see me get under a bar and do a squat? Because I'm doing the back squats and stuff to build my squats and deadlifts. But when I get under a squat bar and actually squat, people are like, well, any bar really, and pull the box out. It's a different story. Put up elite numbers. Not a problem. Because I'm actually strong. But it's to remove the ability to compare yourself to other people, because there are guys who are amazing at the bench. The bench press is almost up there with the squat. I mean, you start going to straight raw lifting. You go to straight raw lifting, bench and squat are not as different as we would think they are. In other words, the bench press gives us a big lift that people can move a lot of weight on for the upper body. And it's really the only lift that people have successfully done this on. True upper body lift that lets us move close to lower body weights. You start stepping out of the real big heavyweight classes and you realize not that much difference. In other words, you go down into the 198s, guys, you're benching over 500 pounds. Okay? They're not squatting double that. They're not squatting double that. 700-pound squats in the 198 are about as common as 500 benches are. That's a pretty much smaller gap. I've seen plenty of guys benching in the 400s who only squat in the 500s. Okay? In other words, at the truly competitive level, when you really find good benchers, what's our difference? Maybe 80%. It's about 80%. Start getting into the higher levels too, squats and deadlifts get close together. In other words, these numbers aren't as far apart as we would expect. And for those of us who suck at benching, it stands out real bad. You guys have seen me come and do the best I've done on camera close grip. 352, I've done it twice, close grip, because I sucked at wide grip. And I squat and deadlift low 600s. Okay. That gap is enormous. The point is, guys who are trying to say, well, the bench is whatever, it's unathletic, it doesn't matter. You're going to just replace it with the press, which is a much smaller exercise. We move a lot less weight, use less muscles in the upper body. In other words, you don't have to be as big either. All right? It doesn't require you to have as much back or pec. It's a cope, because we don't want to be compared against people who are really good at the bench, who have really specialized in it. Because my God, if we're not built to bench, do we look weak compared to them? But that's exactly what it is. And so in my case, what I've decided to do is realize that that is the case. Nothing wrong with pushing. But you want a big press, train for a big press. But it's not a truly competitive lift. Okay? And it doesn't use that much muscle. If you want to do it, supplemental lift, and if you want to care about your max zone, go ahead. There's nothing wrong with that. This is a cool exercise. Cool exercise to get strong on. But the idea to say, oh, well, the bench doesn't matter. The standing press is a better test of strength, more athletic. No, that's a bullshit. That is a cop-out. Cop-out for those of us who suck at the bench. And all of you who are in that situation, you damn well know it. We need to just own that. And in my case, it's a matter of, well, I better just get good at the bench. That's my solution. Instead of the cope, just get better at what I suck at, which I'm working on really hard. All right, guys, but that's really all I have to say on that today. I hope it's been informative, and I will talk to you guys next time.